I said to you, Stansfield needs to come on for Dykes, didn't I? Right, and that happened at half time. But what really surprised me is he put Stansfield in the number 9.
Yeah.
To me, that was an opportunity to put Stansfield on the left, move Williamson into the number 10, put Harris over on the right, and put Alfie May at number 9. That would have put 3 players back in their natural position.
So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. And yesterday, Birmingham City drew 0-0 with Blackpool with a really disappointing and disjointed performance. Now, on this podcast, we like to be as honest as we possibly can, and we just weren't at the races for that game. It wasn't really good enough. Sadly, that win streak comes to an end, but ultimately, we will be starting 2025 top of the league. So, Dad, Birmingham City 0, Blackpool 0. What were your thoughts?
Well, he used the word disjointed, which I think is a perfect word to describe the performance, and that is mainly down to the team selection. I think we had players that were out of position. I just talked through the starting lineup actually because it was really interesting. We expected some changes because we know at this time of year we need rotation. Actually, that game was our third game in 6 days. Third game in 6 days, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Because we played on the 23rd, Boxing Day. And then again on the 29th. So there was going to be rotation, but there were 6 changes. Jay Stansfield and Ben Davies were on the bench, which surprised me. Taylor Gardner-Hinton started at right back and Lyndon Dykes started at front. But of course, that meant a change of shape in the team. And what we saw, which we didn't want to see, was Williamson was out on the right. Alfie May was in the number 10. And he played Dykes as the number 9. It was all very clunky, wasn't it? And it showed as well that these players, we've seen it before, they're just not comfortable in those positions. So I think that that didn't help, did it?
We said that, didn't we, at the Exeter game, which was off the back end of our poor run against Mansfield, Northampton and Shrewsbury. When we got to the Exeter game, we said we were so much happier because he'd put Bielik at right back, he'd put Williamson back in the 10, Alfie May back in the 9, and it just felt right, didn't it? Players looked comfortable in their positions. I felt like we've just gone back 2 months or a month.
Yeah.
We've gone back to where we were.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not blowing it out of proportion. We got a point. We're still top of the league. I'm not jumping on this bandwagon, but I am making a point to say, from a team selection point of view and playing players in the right position, we've gone back 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's really disappointing for me because we've said several times, Williamson, you play him in the 10 or you don't play him at all. Alfie May, you play him in the 9 or you don't play him at all. And it looked clunky. It looked disjointed again. It reminded me of those performances where stuff wasn't clicking. I felt like we were in sort of second gear again. But this time I felt like we didn't have anything to crank it up.
Yeah.
And we looked a little bit lost going forward. And I think that has been a bit of a common theme this season. But for me, the big disappointment was players playing in the wrong positions again. Because as a fan base, Dad, we would be naive to think that Chris Davies isn't going to do any rotation during this period because of the backlog of games or the build-up of games. So that's to be expected, but playing players in the right positions is the key. So rotate all you like, but don't move players away from their core positions.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of Blues fans will look at this. I saw some reaction on social media. A lot of fans saying, "Yeah, look, what we got to complain about? We're top of the league. We are. You know, we've got lots of points. We've scored plenty of goals during the season." But you have to look at the reality of what we've been watching for the last 2 games, and you're entitled to your opinion. To obviously, we pay the money like all other Blues fans that go and watch the club, and we're entitled to give our opinion. And that was a performance that was completely underwhelming. In fact, I would argue that it's a point gain for us because we should have lost that game really because I think they had the better chances. Even Steve Bruce said in his post-match interview that's the best they've played. Yeah, he said they. When I looked at their starting lineup because we research all these teams before we in our preview videos, that was a strong team they put up. So basically, they weren't rotating. They put their strongest team up. And I know that you've got the EFL have stitched us up, haven't they? Because that game on the 23rd. Blackpool had 2 extra days to prepare, so they have more time to manage these row of games. So that's not helped us as well. So there had to be some rotation, but I find it very strange. I think Chris Davies is going to look at this. He'll look back at this and he'll see that he's made some choices there that he'll know they didn't work. You like you said, putting those players in the wrong positions. We had Hansen on the left, started on the left. He did okay while he was on, actually. There's no Cochrane in the squad. I'm assuming he's rested. No Keshi Anderson in the squad. I don't know whether he's injured. I don't know.
We missed Keshi Anderson big time.
Yeah, we do.
We missed a proper winger who gets the ball at his feet and goes at players.
Yeah.
Because even Hansen yesterday, he had a couple of moments where he got the ball, he was progressing, he turned around.
Yeah.
and passed it and we shoehorned around the back end.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was so frustrating. Where's our classical winger who gets the ball at his feet and runs at his player and beats his man and gets a crossing? I think that's missing from this team at the minute.
What I noticed about Hansen as well, it may be because he's just coming back off an injury. Obviously, he's injured again. We'll talk about that in a minute. But he plays in front of his man, so the ball gets to his feet, but he's got the defender behind him. So I think wingers should play on the shoulder of the player so that they can at least
Traditionally so.
Yeah, and he doesn't. He plays in front. That's why he was passing it back a lot because he had the player right behind him. Yeah, he went through a few times, and of course, he's a winger, so he created probably arguably our best chance of the game. But that was a little bit disappointing as well. And of course, we had the injuries as well. That didn't help as well. By the way, Lee Buchanan, best wishes because that looked like a bad injury. You turned around to me, didn't you? And you said that's the end of his season.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Because he looked really bad, didn't he?
Yeah. And then I saw a picture afterwards that I sent it to you. He's basically, his leg is completely hyperextended.
Yeah.
Really grim. I don't know whether that's a snap or whether he's just dislocated his knee. I hope it's not as serious as what the picture looked like. But to me, that's a season-ending.
Well, let's hope not. But that disrupted us because that meant the shape changed straight away. So Lee Buchanan was, in fact, actually they had he did that, saving what was a really good chance for them. The ball was knocked over the top, wasn't it? And a combination of a good save from Allsop and Buchanan going in suffocated the player because that's where Buchanan got injured. He went down, and
on that chance though, Dad, that was really poor defending. It was a little dink over the top.
Yeah.
Their player went through, should have scored really.
Yeah.
But again, we got caught 2 or 3 times yesterday. A little ball over the top.
Yep.
Why are we so vulnerable to little dinks over the top?
I don't know. and I think obviously teams see that, don't they? He was replaced by Laird Buchanan, so that's another player playing out of position.
Yeah.
He was playing at left back as well. I was concerned when I saw the starting lineup. I saw Ben Davies went there. I know that you've got to rotate. I get that, and I know it's a difficult thing because Chris Davies has got to make these choices. He's the one that's paid the money to do it. But Clara came alongside Bielek, and of course that meant that Bielek wasn't in the right back position, and he put Taylor Gardner-Hickman over there. So it was a really sort of like strange team selection. We had Paken Awata in the middle, which clearly was which is what Chris Davies' favoured midfield is. But the whole thing just didn't look right, did it? It just didn't look right. We didn't create enough chances, but the tempo was very slow again.
Yeah.
And that's where we can really improve, is increase the tempo and try and play through teams rather than shoehorning around the back.
We can see the influence that Chris Davies has had. We are a highly dominant team. We have a lot of the ball. You can see the training taking effect of what he's done in terms of keeping possession. But where's the attacking parts of play? Where's the build-up as a team going forward? Are they doing shooting practice? Are they getting balls in the box? I feel like from what we're seeing, all they do in training is possession-based training. Whereas, as I say, those sort of build-ups in attack, and we don't really have another dimension moving forward, do we? And I tell you what I've really noticed there, I don't know whether other Blues fans have picked up on this, Alfie May and particularly Stansfield, they're constantly making runs around the back, constantly, really good runs. Stansfield plays on the shoulder of the last defender when he's in the
They just don't get the ball up.
He just don't get the ball. Yeah. Why aren't our midfielders and our fullbacks, when they're on the ball, picking him out? And this is the difference between quality, Dad. The last game we saw against Stansfield was a Fulham, remember, before he signed for us. And the goal he scored was because a Fulham player had the vision and the quality to pick him out on the run. Yeah. He cuts in and he shoots. If we could start picking out Stansfield's runs a little bit more, we'd be so much more dangerous. And I see him all the time. He's doing his run. He doesn't get picked out. He gets so frustrated. And I think when Stansfield, sometimes he lashes out or he looks a little bit disinterested in games. Not in a negative way, but sometimes his body language isn't right there. I think it's because he's making runs, he's not getting picked out, and he's just super frustrated.
He needs support as well, because a couple of times I turned around to you and said, look, we've got Stansfield in the box. He's the only one in the box, surrounded by 4 Blackpool defenders. So when we were coming forward, there wasn't enough support for him because he could get the ball and he could score a wonder goal or do trickery. But if you've got more Blues players, more Blues shirts in that congested area, chances are the ball's more likely going to drop to us. But there was no support at all for him as well. And one point I want to make as well, which I think is really important as well, this system doesn't suit Lyndon Dykes as a number 9. No. Lyndon Dykes is a target man in my view. He hasn't got no pace, so there's no point in playing him in this, as the number 9. It was ridiculous. I see Lyndon Dykes as a substitute when you either need to hold on to a lead or you need a goal, someone you can ping the ball to. But again, I said this before. I think I said it in the pre-match video. He's a victim of the system. Because we don't really ping that many balls into the box, he's going to have it at his feet, but he's not a feet type of player. And I think that was a mistake as well, playing him at number 9. I found that strange. And again, I think Linda Dice has a part to play for us moving forward, but as a substitute, in my opinion.
Yeah. Lyndon Dykes, I've defended him on this podcast many times. I think he's a decent player, but he was poor yesterday. I mean, he had one job really in the position he was in, and that was to win his aerial battles and to link up play, and he did neither.
Yep.
You know, and I'm not scapegoating here. We're just picking out bad performances. And another big one for me, Dad. Why did he bring Harris on? For me personally, I think the game was crying out for someone like Yokoyama, someone who, we mentioned about Hansen turning round, we mentioned about not having Keshi Anderson. For me, Yokoyama would have at least gave us an outlet of a person running at a team with the ball at his feet. And he seems to have this little bit of loyalty to Harris. I've seen Harris now this season get in ahead of Leonard, against of Williamson earlier on in the season, against Hansen. He's actually won certain positions over players, in my opinion, who are having slightly better seasons. And by the way, again, this isn't a scapegoat. I'm not saying we lost this game because Harris came on. I actually think he's a very talented player, Harris. It's just not quite working for him at Birmingham City this season. And for me, I thought that was disappointing. I would have liked to have seen an actual authentic left winger come on. Because then we had 3 players out of position in our attacking line.
Well,
it kind of made no sense. Why did we have 3 players out of position moving forward then?
Well, imagine your Yokoyama sit on the bench. You think, Hansen's got injured. You think, I'm going to get on now because I'm a left winger. And he doesn't. And that tells us a number of things, doesn't it? Firstly, it tells us that he doesn't trust Yokoyama because he should have been put on, shouldn't he? He's a left winger. Or, he felt that, that Harris might be better in the system, which clearly didn't work. But Yokoyama, I sort of understand. I know a lot of Blues fans are saying, play Yokoyama, play Yokoyama. But I sort of get it. I see Yokoyama as a very talented young player. And he's all full of energy, bags of energy, but he does lose the ball a lot as well.
Yeah, but it's horses for courses. That game was crying out.
I think so. At that time, well, that was 43rd minute, just before half time, when and there was 10 minutes of injury time because of the Lee Buchanan injury earlier in the game. So I think Yokoyama should have been put on in this game in front of Harris, definitely.
I think if we have Stansford on the left, Keshi Anderson on the right, or Scott Wright, who's back fit, I think you're right, Dad. Yokoyama is an impact sub who can come on. But when you're playing 3 of your attacking line out of position and a left winger comes off and Yokoyama's sitting on the bench, he must be screaming, thinking, what have I got to do to get on here? Because for me, just me personally, I think we were dying for a winger who was actually going to get on the ball and take on his man, because we were missing that. We got our wing play yesterday was really poor. And usually that's where we're really strong. And
we were sloppy on the ball, and I think they, to be fair to them, they pressed us well. They suffocated. They did to us what we do to teams. They
made us be sloppy, didn't they?
And we give the ball away a few times, and a couple of times when we were messing around at the back, they closed us down. We've given the ball away, and they've created chances for them. The one outstanding chance for us was in the 27th minute. That shot from Hansen where we cut across from the left, and it was a fantastic save from their goalkeeper. Really good save. I mean, that all day long that was going in, and he came across. It was a really, really good save.
But then a minute later,
they're through another ball over the top as well. I thought that their player, but he's not going to give it. I thought their player nudged our player, but it wasn't given. Went through, and again another good save from Allsop. He knocked it over the bar. Yeah. So it's this. But this is a team in Blackpool that we said in the pre-match video. We think they're dangerous because they've got quality players. Like, I think their league position is a little bit misleading. I think they'll finish a lot higher. I've tipped them for the playoffs, Blackpool. Not just based on that performance. I said that in the pre-match video.
Yeah. You also backed the draw.
I did back a draw. I said 1-1. It was 0-0. But I mean, okay, we've got another clean sheet. I think is that 6 clean sheets out of the last 7 in the league?
Is, yeah.
That's good. So we've stopped conceding goals, but we've also stopped scoring them.
Yeah, but on another day, Dad, that could have been 2 or 3 to Blackpool, couldn't it? Yeah. Just in terms of the clear-cut chances we're talking here.
That's why I think it's a point gained rather than 2 points lost. I think that we could have easily come away with nothing from that.
I mean, just after that, Dad. So on 28 minutes, that was the reference. So Hansen goes through, then they go through, and 2 minutes after that, they have another header. He completely spooned it, but it was a chance that they could have done it
right on the 6-yard line.
He could have done a lot better there. And then their biggest chance of the game was 56 minutes when just inside the post. In fact, how did that crawl along the open goal and hit the inside of that back post?
Because he could have easily spun in.
I know, exactly.
Before we get, I just want to talk about the substitution at half time, because I said to you about 10 minutes before, in fact, actually just before they put the 10 minutes up in the first half for the injury time, I said to you, Stansfield needs to come on for Dykes, didn't I? Right, and that happened at half time. What really surprised me is he put Stansfield in the number 9. Yeah. To me, that was an opportunity to put Stansfield on the left, move Williamson into the number 10, put Harris over on the right and put Alfie May at number 9. That would have put 3 players back in their natural positions.
Agreed, yeah.
But he put Stansfield at number 9 and left everybody else in their same positions. I found that exceptionally strange. I thought that would make perfect sense to put them back in their positions. And as I say, I think with hindsight, Chris Davies will look at decisions that he's made in this game and actually think that not that by any means we're a podcast giving our opinion. It's easy for us to give an opinion after the game, isn't it? But Chris Davies has got to make the decisions at that moment on the time, and we trust Chris Davies and we do. But I think we can look back and reflect on games with hindsight and think there's things that could have been maybe better game management in that game could have improved. I think
we can always look back, Dad, and say we should have done this and that, shouldn't we? Like, you could look back at Shrewsbury and Mansfield maybe and Northampton, Charlton, but I agree. I think the book does stop on yesterday's decisions with Chris Davies. That isn't a dig. I think he's doing a fantastic job. But ultimately, to me, those decisions come down to the manager's choices. He has to be held accountable for that. And I think he got it wrong yesterday. Just being perfectly honest.
No, he did get it wrong. When I saw the starting lineup, I think I said to you that we've got a great, really, really good, strong squad. But I said to you, that's our worst strong squad, didn't I? It's because I'd looked at and just players you could tell they were going to be out of position, didn't you? And they should have been better than that. He brought on, May and Clara that's another. We had injury to Buchanan, to Hansen, and Clara looks like he's got a hip injury to me. He struggled on, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
The problem with hip injuries, they're unpredictable. They stiffen up, and that he could be out for a while. Or it could be something very simple. He might be okay. So we'll have to see what happens with him. But
hopefully, out of everyone in the team, Dad, Clara, I think, would really feel if he was out for a long period of time. He's an exceptional defender. I mean, don't get me wrong, Bielek and Ben Davies are both exceptional defenders as well. Something about Clara's just domination, I think we'd really miss. Hopefully, that's not too serious.
Even when he got that injury, he carried on. He was still putting in some big tackles and good headers as well. On the 57th minute, Alfie May came off with Clara, and Leonard and Ben Davies came on. To be fair, it didn't make a huge amount of difference, those two substitutions. I mean, obviously solid with Ben Davies at the back. It's sort of a like-for-like swap, really, with Clara. Sort of. Leonard,
decent.
He was okay.
Okay, yeah.
But we were quite sloppy, and we kept giving the ball away, and I think that's because they pressed us and made life very difficult for us. I think at the end of the day, we have to take this game and think, okay, we got a point. Yeah, it would have been nice to have 3, but like I said in the preview video, we can't win every game. We are going to drop points. There are going to be bumps in the road. I think this is one, but it weren't a loss.
No, exactly. And as you say, I think we've had a lot of negativity there about Blue. Not negativity, but, points to improve and things that possibly weren't done right on the game. But full credit to Blackpool. They came, they pressed us high, they pressed us intensely, they forced us into mistakes. They actually came and played football. Yeah. And for us this season, that was quite refreshing in a way. I know that might sound strange to say, but, usually this season we've had teams come in, just parking the bus, just really negative football. At least Blackpool came and had a go, and fair play. I think they were the better team. I think when you look at clear-cut chances, they arguably should have won that. I mean, we had 2 final things. As you say, the tempo was slow. Yeah. Which I think really impacts our game. We when we go slow, we just don't look effective at all, don't we? We really need to pick the pace up. But that was a result of the game that Blackpool played. So fair play to them. And I think our decision-making in the final third was poor as well. You mentioned it a little bit earlier, Dad. We had 1 player in the box surrounded by 6 Blackpool players. Why are you pinging it into Stansfield when he's by himself?
Yep.
Again,
yep.
Poor decision-making for me in the final third. But overall, disappointing day in the office. We're still top of the league. Let's not blow it all out of proportion as we can do as a fan base at Blues. We move on to the next one, Stockport, in a few days' time.
Yeah, and like you say, their observations, and every other Blues fan would have seen what we've seen. It's clear that that could have been better. Like I say, another clean sheet, top of the league. We had 6 shots and 4 on target.
Yeah.
Not really enough, is it really? I think we might look back at this game as a bad one because of the injuries. It's cost us, hasn't it? Buchanan's going to be out for a long time by the looks of it. Hansen, I think Chris Davies described it as a muscle injury, not sure the extent of it, and we'll have to see what happened with Clara. But it'll give others chances. Obviously, we've got Stockport coming up now in a couple of days. I hope that Chris Davies will revert back to putting players in their natural positions, like you say. You are right. When you look back with hindsight at this now, and you think, well, those players that played out of positions were the players that were playing when we drew at Mansfield, when we drew at Northampton, when we lost at Shrewsbury. They were all in them positions, and we've gone back to that. It seems very strange that happened. I'm sure Chris Davies will look at that and think, well, I can't let that happen again. Also, as well, it's sort of put in my mind that I think we need another striker.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds stupid. We've got Jace Stansfield and Alfie May, and I think we need another striker. And I do think we need another striker, and also as well our wingers. We need wingers.
That's the key for me.
Yeah.
Wingers.
I know that there's a lot of speculation about us having another centre back. Fine, but to me, the need really now is more what we do going forward. And I think at the back, if our players can stay fit, then I think at the back we'll be solid enough. It's just we need to be more. We need to pose more of an attacking threat. I believe.
Let's not underestimate what wingers give you. They stretch the teams wide. If you've got a winger that's good on the ball, it ups your assists. They create. They play make. I mean, I know that's the role of the 10. A lot of it is to play make, but don't underestimate the value of a good winger. I mean, look at Keshi Anderson this past month. In fact, this season. I would say he's been our strongest player this year. And why? Because he goes at players, he creates chances. A lot of the goals that we've had, especially this past month, over the Christmas period, has came through Keshi Anderson on that right-hand side. It is key. So I agree. Definitely a winger. And, I think secondary could be another striker.
Yeah, but we'll have to see. But, for me, disappointing day at the office, as you mentioned. But, we got a point, and we'll move on now to Stockport. But we have to be better than that to, to keep winning, keep picking up points, in my opinion.
Still top of the league, Dad. Things are still looking good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as always, Birmingham City supporters, we'd love to hear from you. Please let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Do you agree with some of the thoughts and opinions that myself and Dad shared, or do you have some thoughts of your own? Please let us know in the section below. And as always, I just want to reiterate, we are a family podcast. Please keep those responses clean and respectful. And if you do engage with the fans, please also keep to those rules and be polite as well. We'd really appreciate that. And maybe you're a Blackpool fan. Maybe you checked into the pre-video. Maybe this is the first time you'll see our channel. Maybe you have some thoughts of yourselves. Please let us know. We respect and appreciate all views and opinions from other fans as well. If you like this video specifically, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and check us out on our social media channels. We have an X page, we have an Instagram page, and you can also check us out and hear us on Spotify now as well. And if you haven't already, don't forget to press that red subscribe button and press that bell notification as well if you want to be notified every time we post. And myself and Dad will see you on the next video all about Birmingham City.